Welcome to Business Buying Strategies, the UK's #1 podcast for smart business buyers. Hosted by Jonathan Jay, one of the world's leading authorities on small business acquisition. This show helps you buy your first business without risking your own money. Ready to get started? Don't forget to grab your free business buying toolkit, packed with reports, videos, and cheat sheets at dealmakerspodcast.co.uk.
Hi, this is Jonathan Jay, and welcome to Business Buying Strategies, which is, of course, the #1 podcast for people interested in buying a business without using any of their own cash and doing it safely. Now, this week, I want to take you on a journey. You see, there is a moment in every Dealmaker's journey where they stop dabbling and they start moving forward and they start taking action. And in less than 2 weeks' time, from the 2nd to the 4th of December, I'm going to be personally helping 30 or so armchair dealmakers become action takers. So I'm presenting a live, in-person, immersive training near Reading in Berkshire at a beautiful venue called Wokefield Park. It's what I call my foundation course. And over 3 days, I'm going to walk you through my 21-step business buying system. This is the exact framework that I've used to buy and sell over 70 businesses, what my clients all around the world use in our mastermind program. But I'm going to go beyond teaching it. You're actually going to do it. So there are some fun, practical exercises where we can take what we're learning and turning into practice. Now, I want you to listen to the end of what's on today's podcast, because I'm going to be revealing how you can join us in Reading, how you can transform from being a podcast listener to an active deal maker for just £1. Yes, you heard that right, just £1. And final thought, it's not just me presenting for 3 days. I've got previous masterminders. I've got guest finance experts. It really is going to be a tremendous event. So if you've been sitting on the fence for a while, now is the time. So let's hear from some of the people who will be appearing at the foundation, and also an extract from a webinar that I did earlier this week where I explained how you can join us for the full live in-person foundation program for just £1. You won't want to miss this.
So for example, we've got one of the acquisitions we did where over time, we will probably have paid him 15 times what his business is worth on paper. But the deal structure is phenomenal. We're basically paying the guy a percentage of net profits into perpetuity that is 20% of net profits, and I'm okay making 80% and paying him forever. I don't care what his business is valued at that point. Or the third one is your number that you need is so high that your business is so far apart, we will coach you to that point and give you a guaranteed exit. Does that sound okay for you? And they always go, yeah.
But so I'll do it. But do you hear the authority in Martin's voice? Do you hear that? Yeah, that control, but it's not overbearing, it's not uncomfortable, it's actually quite comforting listening to you. I feel like everything's going to be okay because you're going to guide me through this process.
Exactly, and we're also upfront with them and tell them that they're free to back away at any point and there won't be any offense taken from our side, but also if we don't like what we see, we're free to back away because we're all grown-ups. And we would much rather do that on a friendly basis, so does everyone agree that if it gets heated, we take a 5-minute break? Because when we're negotiating, you might not like things or you might get offended. We might get offended and we all just take a break and come back. The key thing is that if we go ahead with a purchase, it must be on amicable terms, because we don't want you slating us to your staff. We want you going to your staff going, oh my God, guys, these guys are going to come in, they're going to modernize the business, they're going to get rid of all your pains and aches, they're going to give you private health insurance, they're going to give you life insurance, they're going to do all this for you, they're going to look after you fantastic, and you're going to be jealous that you're going to wish I was here rather than in Barbados. And that's the whole thing. We want to get them excited, but get them excited about what it means for the future of their business. So we often use the term that we're the custodian of your brand going forward. We're the custodian of your business. You've built it, we'll protect your legacy, which sits quite well with people.
You built it, we'll protect your legacy. Interesting. I can see that working in different sectors.
Yeah, it does. And up until about 2 months ago, we kept everyone's brand the same as what it was. And our strategy was actually to buy 3-4 businesses in each town. And on Google, how many people are SEO experts here or know a lot about SEO and search engine marketing? So you'll know, for those who aren't, there's something called the Google Map Pack, which is when you search in a local area for Google, you get 1, 2, and 3. Well, if you buy 3 businesses in a town and call them all the same, you're unlikely to get 1, 2, and 3 with the same business. But if you've got 3 different brands, you can get 1, 2, and 3, which strategically made sense for if we come to sell the group. However, what we found is that you just don't get the firepower with the reputation. So we went back to the owners of the deals that we've done and said, we want to rebrand to On Point. Are you okay with this? Because it fits better with the referrals, so they're passing on to On Point Financial and On Point Wealth Management, and it just makes it more part of the group. And we got them all to agree, which was awesome. And then we changed them all, and we didn't think anyone would happen. But actually, by rebranding to the group, our incoming calls and incoming inquiries went up 3 times within less than a month. You don't succeed your way to success, you fail your way to success. And the faster you fail, the faster you'll learn, and the more that you grow. And if you want the secret to true wealth, is what I believe, is empower people to fail so that more people can fail on your behalf faster. Because what's the worst thing that happens is you get to the end of a deal, you spend 3 months into it, and you pull out at the last second. Or the absolute worst case is you buy an absolute turd of a business and you put it into liquidation. I was really lucky as I had a mentor early on, and luckily I've never gone bankrupt yet. And I'm saying yet because I don't want to jinx anything, who said to me that no true successful person is ever successful until they've got over the fear of going bankrupt by going bankrupt. He's like, everyone's afraid of it, and everyone's afraid of putting a business in liquidation.
Encourage as a strategy, though. But no, but you're saying it's overcoming fear of failing.
Yeah, it is.
Because
it's taking action.
Because that comes back to this procrastination of, I'm so worried about not being successful. I'd rather not do anything than be unsuccessful by trying and it not working.
Yeah.
So I'll do nothing instead.
I say to all my guys is that if you swing the bat and miss, if you swing the bat, you might fail. If you never pick the bloody thing up, you fail by default. So what's going to happen is you don't get confident talking to people unless you send the letters, unless you connect with people on LinkedIn. And if you don't get confident speaking with people, you're never going to get a deal across the line. I can tell you, we've had some absolute stinking conversations where you get off the phone and you're like, what the hell did I say? What the heck did I do? So yeah, don't be afraid, because if you don't, someone else will do it. The big one as well is, if you're going to take action, take it fast. And if you're going to take fast action, make it massive fast action. Because if you swing the bat once, you might hit, you might miss. But if you swing the bat 10 times, you're going to connect eventually, even just by dumb luck. You don't have to be smart, you just have to be persistent.
I think back in 2017, I had £3 in my bank account. So it was a very tough time to bring up 2 children and have no money. So, everything I've done, I've applied, I've had the motivation to do it because I know that I want something better in life. Fast forward now, I think I have a pretty decent standard of living. There's still more things I want to achieve. Hannah, I've been talking today, has just managed to agree me a mortgage. Which is fab. So I'll be buying my home.
Very good.
But that's what it brings. It is off the business.
Yeah. There you go.
Nothing to do with me.
Can I just say another thing here? So look, if you manage your finances, and this is a very smart way of managing your finances, where you only actually have income, so what HMRC define as income, that you would need to spend, so you don't have surplus cash. So basically everything's in the business. The challenges are sometimes around leveraging that business to buy the larger house. It's almost like you can't have your cake and eat it. You can't say you don't earn very much money, but you want to get this big mortgage. But if you've got that growing business with a story behind it as well, with an acquisition story, and look, these are the other deals that we're doing, then it allows you to access funding for things like mortgages a lot easier.
Yeah, and I've wanted to buy my house for a long time, but literally within 18 months, we've got now on paper what the lender wants for me to be able to do that.
Nice one. So, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So I said to him, I'm not prepared to pay that. And then I started to get up because he was like, well, that's what I want. I was like, okay, well, if that's what you want, I don't want to pay that. So I started to get up to leave. And which is quite a hard thing to do, which is what you teach as well about holding your nerve, hold it and taking control. And I started to head towards the door and he's like, oh, okay, what sort of figure do you have in mind?
And we call this the Columbo strategy. Remember the TV series Columbo? He'd always, he'd head towards the door, and just as he had his hand on the handle of the door, that's when the truth would come out.
So then we kind of went backwards and forwards. I explained to him why I wouldn't pay that and what I look at and what, things I need to bring into the business and things I need to change and the cost that's going to have on my time and all that sort of thing. And we did agree. And that one completed quite quickly. It was about 6 weeks.
That's nice and fast, yeah.
Yeah.
Good, nice one. So that was deal number 1. How did you find deal number 2?
Deal number 2 was a bigger salon, so that was a bigger turnover, so it was like 400,000. There was 2 locations, and again with her, she wasn't in the UK. She lived in Dubai, so she actually hadn't been in the businesses for about 5 years. I don't think she'd walked in. She had a manager running it. Okay. So for me, that was lovely because that was already doing everything. And I didn't really need to get too heavily involved in the day-to-day of that because it already had a manager in place, which is very valuable. The other thing on some of the businesses that we look at, and certainly the first 2 that we did, they were 10 years and over, which is something that we really love to do now. And the reason being is because they grew organically and they had no marketing. And how I grew my first business was purely by Facebook ads, Google ads. So I had never grown it organically. It was always by paid advertising. So we had that skill. So when we took those on, we could turn that on straight away and actually, grow massively.
It's interesting. So that's similar to what we were talking about earlier. So bring your skill to the table. Yeah, it's not a necessity, but if you do have a skill you can bring to the table, then why wouldn't you? And the skill doesn't have to be a hard skill like marketing. It could be a good people management. It could be you're very motivational and inspirational, and people will work very hard for you. I mean, that could be the skill that you bring.
Yeah, so that one was a lot easier in the sense that it had a manager there. It did take a little bit longer in terms of completing on that one. I think that was the one that I agreed heads or terms at the vote party bit. So that didn't complete till after the other one. They were supposed to go the other way around.
Okay.
And that one completed in the November time. So again, pretty, still pretty reasonable. But yes, different structure, which was great because that had a really great credit history. It had great credit facilities. It had a lot of cash in the bank, which then went on to fund.
Which is what we were talking about earlier.
Deals.
One deal funds the next. So you can parlay these up into bigger and bigger deals.
Yeah, and certainly, especially for the industry I'm in, the credit facilities is quite it's quite good because it's, I think we've built a pretty good group now, so I think we're more attractive to a lender. But certainly in the earlier days, I had to be more creative. We didn't have invoice discounting. There was no commercial premises, so I had to be a lot more creative. So actually, sometimes buying a business with those facilities in place is very valuable.
So in essence, when we crux it all down, we're buying a business that's making 80, 90k profit a month, using no money, and we're getting paid 300k on day one to do it. Which is...
And if you put the 2 businesses together, add the numbers up for me. What do you get to?
We will sit at just under 9 million turnover and 1.4 million annual profit.
And when was the first deal? When did you first speak to the owner of the first deal?
It might have been July, August, something like that. I think it was August.
So it's about 6-7 months.
Correct.
But if the two together.
Correct.
Okay. So 6-7 months to get to, what's the combined profit?
1.3, 1.4, something
1.3, 1.4. Okay. So if you get going now, that's before the end of the year.
What's quite nice about that is because we were obviously talking about this sector, and PE, like private equity, are quite active in the sector. And what's nice about this is, so in our sector, a company with $1 million EBITDA is probably going to sell, if it's a good company, good quality contracts, etc., might sell for 6 as a standalone sort of thing. The other one that we bought last year, it's a bit smaller, so loosely it's probably 4 or 5. But by just buying this one, and I know there's a bit of integration and stuff like that, but by buying this one is now worth 8 times, just because of the commercial mass. And then this one goes from 6 to 8, if that makes sense. So just by sticking them together, like I said, there's a bit of, you can't just stick them together and someone's going to pay. You've got to integrate them and stuff like that.
So is everyone clear on what we're doing here? So the overall value of both entities increases because they are considered to be part of the same group, or they are part of the same group. So you apply that same higher multiple to now, when we're buying, we don't really want to get into multiples. We want to get into mathematics. We want to get into the emotion of you want to retire by the beginning of the summer and go on the world cruise. That's the focus that we're looking at. Because this is genius. Think about the logic here. If they are on an earn-out that is all about profitability of the business, and the profitability of the business is going to be reduced by the finance that might be used to buy the business, it is within their interest to effectively do a vendor finance / seller finance / deferred consideration model, because it makes the business more profitable, which means that they get their money faster.
Correct.
You are incentivizing them to do vendor finance because they get a better, faster deal than if you ignored that and went and actually got some asset finance or whatever it might be.
Yeah, so that's what we did. And what's really nice about it as well is we haven't got like the lease back agreement it's not just like an ongoing monthly fee. It's ad hoc. So we win a piece of work and we price it into the piece of work accordingly. So we only pay for it when we actually use it as well. So we've almost got it for, like I say, and what was really nice about this, we made 80k deal fee as well on day one. So we and me and Harry were we had a drink on Tuesday night. My partner Harry, you probably recognise him, and we were just thinking, how have we done that? It was quite a nice, like, no money. He's basically given his company. We've made 80k on day one, and now we're making anywhere between 30 and 50k a month. So, and yeah, we did it like I say, from first call on the Thursday, we had heads signed 8 days later, and it was an 8.5 week time frame from start to finish.
So what was the motivation behind selling? How could you do it so fast? Because from conversation to heads in how many days?
6 working days.
6 working days is pretty impressive. So what was the thinking behind that? Why did it work?
Yeah, I think straight away, and you'll have this, and I always see it on the LinkedIn, like he was massively motivated. There was a huge level of motivation. You know, you can't do a deal like that if someone doesn't actually want to sell their business and they're just fishing. Right, so that was number one. It helped I had a holiday planned like the following Monday, so I basically said to him, look, you've got a week to agree this deal with me because I'm away for 3 weeks. So, yeah, and you can make that, you don't actually have to go on holiday.
Which makes me wonder whether you could kind of always have a holiday planned.
Yeah. This is it. Just make it up. Just say, look, you've got 5 days, go on holiday, so if we're going to do this, if you're serious
You're
about
creating
doing
a deadline, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, correct.
You listen to the podcast, but maybe you're not sure about the next step. You can have a call with one of Jonathan's team, a one-to-one Zoom call, 10, 12, 15 minutes in duration, where you can discuss your particular situation, what it is that you want to achieve, and maybe how we can help get you there an awful lot faster. So if you're interested in having a call with one of Jonathan's team, then find the link in the podcast description, book your time and date, and get some clarity about your business buying journey.
This is a special webinar. I only decided to do this yesterday about our new foundation course, which is a live training course. So it's in a room with other people. Yes, real people that you can speak to. It's not a webinar. It's not online. None of this virtual stuff. It's real. It's live. It is at a place called Wokefield Park near Reading, December the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th. Now, I appreciate that watching my videos, listening to my podcast, or reading my books got you here. And to be fair, that's absolutely brilliant. I'm glad those things got you here, but they are not going to take you where you want to go. So I would like to spend 3 days with you, training you up in what is going to be the best acquisition strategies for 2026. Now, this 3-day course is essential for any new business buyer because There is a huge amount of conflicting advice on the internet. It depends what you read, where you read it. Sometimes you're in the UK, but you're reading a US website, or vice versa, I suppose. And really, if you're a fan of my content, it only actually tells a fraction of the story because it's for the public. People pay for the good stuff. I don't give all the good stuff away free of charge. It's not fair on the people who paid for it. And I've never seen anyone buy a business by accident. People need a system and a process. And that is what I'm going to teach you on the foundation course. The problem is this. If you think, because you've watched lots of my videos, that buying a business involves getting some finance on the assets, paying 3 times net profit, and then spreading the payments over 3 years, if that is what you think it looks like, well, you're going to fall flat on your face. You're going to waste thousands in professional fees. That is the surface level stuff. Look, if it was that easy, if it really was that, if you think about it, if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it. And quite clearly, everyone isn't doing it. Okay? So, yeah, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. I would also say that people who try and figure it out by piecing together everything on the internet are going to waste 6 months of their life just by going down a rabbit hole of information that just makes things more confusing than it makes things clearer. And I have to say, I've been saying it for a while, but it's got to the point now where I just need to shout it, I think, for more people to hear. There are so many people giving bad advice on the internet. There are people who bought one business and they're all over TikTok and Instagram telling you how to buy a business. They did it once. Yeah, that's like buying one property and then saying, I am now an expert on buying property. You've done it once. It's like having one partner and saying you're an expert on relationships, or cooking one meal and saying that you're now a Gordon Ramsay or a Jamie Oliver. It's absolute nonsense. But you don't know that. I know that because I know these people. But you don't, and I can spot all the bad advice because I know what's good and what's bad. You don't know that because you're at the start of the business buying journey and you don't know what's good or bad from an Instagram post. So the foundation course is your solution. It's going to save you from bad advice. It's going to save you from the internet gurus standing in front of their Lamborghinis. What is this, like the 1990s? Standing in front of Lamborghinis, showing off how wealthy they are. And they're more interested in that than they are in actually helping people. So what the foundation course is for, it's for people who are maybe checking out to see if acquisition is right for them. Okay, if you spend 3 days with me, at the end of it, you're either going to do it or you'll never do it. That's really what's going to happen. You'll never do it. You'll say, Jonathan, I met some great people, but business acquisition is not for me. But at least I found out in 3 days rather than waiting 6 months to find out. Or you'll be going, this is it. I found what I'm going to be doing in 2026. It's also for people who've decided that they do want to do business acquisition. 2026 is the year. And those tax rises that are coming in April are really going to turn this into a buyer's market for businesses. But you need the next step. And like I said, the webinars and videos and YouTube and podcasts get you so far. They don't get you where you need to be. Maybe you're partway through a deal and are stuck. And I see this with people who try and do it by themselves. They're stuck and they haven't got anyone to ask. Well, come and ask me. Come and ask me. Come and spend 3 days with me and get what you need to get unstuck. Maybe you're someone who's done a deal and you want to do bigger, better ones. You're frustrated by doing little deals. In fact, I had someone on a webinar recently and he said, yeah, I bought a business, but it was so small, it wasn't worth doing. Exactly. I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to get you thinking bigger. So buying a business is not just buying a business. It is the person that you become in the process. So what I'm going to do across these 3 days is I'm going to grow your knowledge. I'm going to grow your confidence and self-belief. And I'm going to show you that you can do it. And I'm going to show you then how to apply what you've learned in the real world. Buying a business isn't theory, it's practice. So what can you expect during our time together? Well, first of all, we've got a beautiful venue. It's Wakefield Park. It's out in the country. I think it's important to get out of the city. I think it's important to get out of your day-to-day life. It's important to just go somewhere different so you can not look at your emails for a while. You can leave the work stuff behind and just be in a completely different environment. So it's across these 3 days in this beautiful, inspiring location. So you won't only learn how to buy a business successfully in 2026. I'm going to show you how to build a network of contacts. That's what's going to happen. You're going to discover skills during these 3 days that you didn't know you had. People surprise themselves with the rapport building skills, negotiation skills that you don't actually know or recognize that you have right now. And I'm going to show you how to set bigger goals for 2026. If you're deciding that 2026 is going to be the year that everything changes, then you're going to be in the right place. And we're going to together develop a personal plan to achieve them. So you're going to come out of this event a different person to when you walked in. And if you want to meet me before joining Mastermind 2026, we're down to, as of yesterday, 20 places remaining for Mastermind 2026. Then let's have a coffee together in one of the breaks, and you can ask me some questions, and I can help you make the right decision for you. But you're also going to meet people who've been on Mastermind before. So that's going to help as well. You're going to meet Danny. He went from 0 to 11 million of revenue in manufacturing. You're going to meet Tim, who went from primary school teacher to £9 million revenue on the first deal. You're going to meet Cara, who's a £180,000 a year beautician, to a £2 million 7 salon owner. You're going to meet Dan, who did his first deal at £10 million. And he was an employee with no sector experience. And you're going to meet David, who's just done an £8 million exit 4 years after joining Mastermind. So it's not just me for the 3 days. You're going to meet some of my colleagues as well. You're also going to have a special bonus session with Martin, who's my finance wizard. He is an absolute wizard on raising money to buy businesses, regardless of your background or whatever you do now. It doesn't make any difference. He is the guy to turn to when it comes to raising money and when it comes to structuring deals. And I've organized a special session with him. So on day one, you'll start completing a personal planner, which will tell you exactly what you need to do to meet your financial goals. Do you need to buy 1 business, 2 businesses, 3 businesses? We'll map it all out. Now, if you don't know what type of business to buy, and most people don't, then I'm going to show you the best and the worst types of businesses to buy. Okay? So during the foundation course, every question is going to be answered. Everything that you're not clear about. I mean, some people, they say, well, how can you possibly buy a business without using any of your own money? How do you do that? Well, that's a fundamental question. And I'm going to make sure that becomes absolutely crystal clear. So I'm available during the breaks, during lunch and the evenings to sit with you to answer any questions that you have. I don't disappear on you. I'm there for the 3 days. So the question that you're probably asking is, Jonathan, this sounds absolutely brilliant. How do I get on it? How do I do this? Yes, I'm in, but how much does it all cost? I want you to consider, first of all, the price of not attending. The price of not attending is struggling by yourself, maybe 6 months of wasted time and probably £5,000 in wasted fees. Because you'll find lawyers and accountants on the internet who want money up front. By the way, none of my deal team do that, but people who find out on the internet, they'll want money up front, and you'll put money into deals that go nowhere. There is a price for doing nothing. There's a price for not attending. Now, just to remind you where it is and when it is, it's December the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th at Wakefield Park near Reading, Berkshire. Now, you can't just show up. You've got to be pre-registered, all right? And I'm doing a special introductory price for people who are on this webinar right now for just £1. Yes, for £1, I know, it sounds too good to be true, right? For £1, you can come and spend 3 days with me. Now, why am I doing this? Why am I crazy to do this? I've done 2 of these foundation courses recently, and I've been told the feedback has been that this has been the best training course I have ever run. So I sat down with my team earlier this week and we said, how can we open this up to more people? How can more people experience it? And then we got talking about the challenges that new business buyers face. That bad advice on the internet combined with all these gurus running around giving terrible advice with their Lamborghinis that they probably rented for the photo shoot. All right. So I don't want you to fall foul of that bad advice. I want you to come and spend 3 days with me, spend 3 days with my students, people who have bought businesses as a result of working with me, 3 days with my expert team. And then you can do what you want. You can either go off and do this because you'll have a plan, or you can get me enrolled to help you. So this is perfect for people who've been thinking about working with me, but just want to spend a few days around me in the environment, meet my staff, meet my past mastermind clients to see what it's like. So effectively, it's free. For £1, you can attend these 3 days with me. But we need to have a conversation with you first, just to make sure that you're the right person. We're nearly full, as you would expect, but just to make sure the right person is in the group. So we need to have a Zoom call with you, and we need to have a Zoom call with you today. So you go to dealmakers.co.uk/clarity. dealmakers.co.uk/clarity. And you book in a 10-15 minute session with one of my team. You just follow the instructions on that page. It's really, really easy. You'll get a confirmation through. Do not ghost them. Do not disappear on them. You know, if you're booking a slot, and we've only got a certain number of slots we can do every day, don't take one from someone else who would have loved it by taking it and not showing up. So please only do this if you're serious about showing up and serious about attending on those dates. You've got to be available. Let's go back. You've got to be available on the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th. Not just one of the days, not just 2 of the days. You've got to be available for all 3 days, and you've got to be prepared to come to us in Reading, Berkshire, just off the M4. So if you would like one of the £1 slots, you're serious about buying a business, my team's going to have a chat with you just to make sure that you really are serious, because quite frankly, I just want a room full of serious people. There's nothing worse than serious people over here and a few people looking bored over in the corner wondering why they're there. That's just ridiculous. Don't let that be you. So I'm looking for the serious people. So if you're interested in doing this, go to dealmakers.co.uk/clarity. Book in your session with one of my team, have a conversation with them, and they'll take your £1 booking over the phone. It really is as simple as that. And then we'll get you everything that you need before you attend. We've got some videos and things for you to watch to get you in the right level of knowledge before you walk through the door.
Thanks for listening to Business Buying Strategies. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review. And remember, for more resources and guidance on buying a business, visit dealmakers.co.uk. Have you downloaded your free business buying toolkit yet? It's packed with resources to help you close your next deal. Get it now at dealmakerspodcast.co.uk. We're back in a fortnight. Until then, here's to your next successful acquisition.